we are ready to talk about these things. Now, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about this whole matter, the Prime Minister, the Mercedes-Benz, the BMW, all that kind of stuff. What the Office of the Prime Minister said just recently. We'll talk about the agenda as far as immigration matters are concerned. Big agenda, big agenda, big agenda, because everybody's wanting to come to the Bahamas. And they are coming. We're going to talk about the police, the defense force, the people who are manning the waterways out front, make sure that they don't get to the country. And this is the kind of talk that you want to hear today, friends. Believe you me, because Lincoln Bean has been on the ground knowing so much about so many things. And that is one of the reasons why we're going to be talking with him today, right here live on the Friday Tradition, only on hard copy.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are commercial break. So while we're on this commercial break, please share. As soon as you get in, if you are sharing, the algorithm is going to know that the video is important, so they're going to share it more. So as you get on here, please share. I'm going to take the time to share this. So we should be started in about 2 minutes. All right. So tag some of your folks today. Make sure that they are here. So some people don't have Facebook. Remember, you can also share my YouTube page to them. Fame Illusion, most people watch it on there, but also on Lincoln Beans or Coalition of Independence, YouTube or Facebook. So you could, for persons who don't have Facebook, you can share it on YouTube.
My fellow Bahamians, we must pivot mentally now to stop the steal of our values, of our resources, and of our standards. How? By putting our mental boots on the ground so we can drain the swamp. If not now, then tell me when. If not you, then who? Remember, anyone can steer our ship, but only a leader from God can chart the course. Right now, we need leadership. Give my chance, let it be.
What you doing?
Taking my license plate.
I see that. I wonder why.
Well, when I see certain people driving down with their blue plate, I get an idea.
I scared to ask, but what?
Well, you know how with the blue plate you can park anywhere, anytime?
Yes.
Well, I figure if we had blue plates, we could park anywhere we want to park in Super Wash Yard.
What you mean, anywhere?
That ain't difficult to understand. Anywhere mean anywhere.
But suppose there ain't no parking space in there, Lord.
Well, just when the blue plate come in, we could park anywhere. On the sidewalk, behind people, in the parking lot, anywhere.
When you plan on trying it out?
Soon as this thing dry.
Which Super Wash you gonna do?
What you mean you? You ain't going with me?
No, sir. Hey, you ever been on YouTube?
I don't believe so.
Well, I believe you're gonna make your debut real soon. Super Wash. It washes and presses and cleans you 24/7.
At Bronze Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands. Electric motors, heat, cooling, water pumps, generators, backhand, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, motors,
back in a
and
minute.
more. They equip the handlebars, have combined up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wood and Clarence Roads, have an open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They
They
offer
send this stuff
24
out
hours
to everybody.
emergency
He
assistance.
said it to me just
You can
now.
reach them
Me?
242-356.
No, I said they sent it to me just now.
Oh, yeah.
If you want it done right the first time, you want Executive Printers to work for you.
That's
At
good.
Executive Printers, we do it all. Printing of posters, business cards, flyers, business and corporate checks with all the necessary security features. We print display advertisement posters in every
Yeah, we
size,
normally blast
full color, and
thousands of
at the
people
most
on
affordable
WhatsApp
prices
because what happened is they've stopped doing the notifications when I go live on
Oh, I
Facebook.
see it.
The government seems to be interfering so that the word doesn't get out. So we manually do a blast for everyone on our YouTube. Mhm.
They'll find the trick to do anything like that.
Yeah, they desperate right now for power.
Snacks and specials. Succulent
This is why we
temperature
fight.
with all the extras. The famous chicken in the bag, fish snacks with all the extra sides, and old-fashioned hamburgers and cheeseburgers made the old-fashioned way. Road cooking you grew up eating, tried and tested, and still all these years. Stop by any of your favorite road spots today. Nassau Street, Boy Road, Number Back Alley in Camper, or Louis Goes Lisa on Sienna Drive.
And Steve talks. People listen. Time to put on that radio. It's the McKinney Show. Live. Ain't no job. Every soul. Trying to get the message out to people far away. Giving thanks to the one who brought us here. Brought us here. God is here.
You're right on in the pulse of the people in the nation.
It gives people information what they don't really think about.
And then he gets to the bottom.
I am just amazed. Keep up the good work. I'm one of those persons out here who believe in everything that you're doing. It is time in your voice.
He's very knowledgeable. That's what I does.
He has a more calm, more tranquil attitude with the people that call in and do. So I would say he's a better speaker or show host.
There's one show that I think would be healing people need to listen to. It's Hard Coffee.
Welcome back to our show today, Hot Coffee, the Friday tradition. We've got Lincoln Bain on the show today, and we are excited about it because he says that change is needed in an urgent way. And he says that he wants to see this change happen in our country because we've got big things on the agenda. Immigration, of course, tops the list. Crime and poverty, a non-effective social services entity, and a government that seems to be confused or have a clear agenda or mandate about what's going to happen in the next 2.5 years in the office of their time in power. It's all here today, right here on Hard Copy Live, and we welcome Mr. Lincoln Bain to the show. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon. I am awesome, man. How you doing?
Well, that's in fact fantastic. I'm happy to hear that you're doing well.
Yes, man.
And I know now that all kinds of things are happening.
Yeah.
So many things happening, my friend. You look this way, you see things happening here, you see things happening there. On the immigration front, things are happening all around us. The Prime Minister's going all over the country, still trying and doing his things as far as Botswana is concerned the other day. Came back home, had this difficulty with the Office of the Prime Minister dealing with the whole matter about this BMW car, $192,000 they spent on the BMW car. That's one of the smaller things on the agenda because we want to really talk about the substantive things really in a big way. Start out talking about this whole matter. As you talk about the problems of the country, state of affairs, that's what we call this topic today. There's so many things happening, you've got to keep your hand on the pulse at all times. What's going on as far as you're concerned?
There's never been so many concurrent scandals at one time in Bahamian history. We could not keep up. There's no way. Yeah, how do you keep up? You will seem like a crazy man running after every wrong thing that they're doing.
Exactly.
And it's like every few days is another scandal. And it's like they are the Titanic is sinking, but they are acting as if everything is a-okay. And this is shocking. Literally, the whole entire country is falling apart. Nothing is working. And they are saying, hey, we got 9 million tourists. And that's what you're bragging about. We don't own any of the cruise ships.
Yeah. We can call home and say, we're doing this now. This is good.
Yeah. The people on Bay Street are not feeling these 9 million tourists. The majority of them don't leave the ship. And who leaves the ships, they're telling them don't bring any money off the ship. You know, the country is falling apart. Nothing is working.
Do you feel aware that the country is falling apart? Because
they are.
You're the first person who told me that.
They are aware, but they don't care. They could care.
They really
less.
don't care.
They are getting what they want. They're getting their money under the table, and that's all they care about. The country could burn the hell. They don't care. Their cronies are getting their contracts. They are set up a low-cost home scheme near the Pinewood and Pinecrest for our homes. First thing, they didn't even hide it. Like, listen, we're gonna build some low-cost homes right now in Pinecrest on little swamp land, real village. But our homes is doing it. Like, you went straight to corruption. You know, there was corruption because there was no tender, no anything. We are living under the most corrupt period outside of a nation for sale in the 80s. We're living in that right now. And we have to do something about that.
The thing with the 1980s, that wasn't really wholesome. Even we saw traces of the whole drug cartel and that kind of thing here. But I'm saying on the ground, people were not feeding that like this. But this is now a time of people who are in poverty. They don't feel anything happening for them. They're not included in the whole bundle of things. Only those people who are in the know get something and they are allowed to go on. So that is the big difference in this particular situation right now. The people are not involved. Not even the Joneses are involved. They can't even go and get some little stuff in their nose or whatever it is. The point is this: they are doing bad. We are doing bad. The nation is doing bad. The prices are high. Everything is out of reach. The taxes are incredible. Everything is far out of reach. It is like some people have just decided that they're going to do some things and they can be okay. And then others, well, what can happen? Well, they're going to have to eat bread or let them eat cake, whatever they can. Just don't bring them around here. That is what it seems like right now in the country. And we've got to fix that by bringing the correctness to the whole matter. And I know that you have some things that you see can happen, but I suppose you've given up on these guys and trying to convince them that you shouldn't be doing that, you should be doing this. I see what you've kind of like moved away from that kind of thing and just looking at the whole of what it really is, and you have to deal with it because they're not taking any instructions.
We are tired of talking to them. And you can talk to your child for so long. You could talk to your employee for so long. And then it comes a point when you have to stop talking to them to try to get them to do what's right. And you just fight them. It's a time when your child, when they're not listening, it's time for cut up. And it's the good cut up. It's overdue. They are the employee that thinks that they are the owner.
Okay.
And they are treating our resources and our finances in this country as if it belongs to them. They want us to have the resources. They have taken our resources and they have said, this is ours. We're going to take the carbon credits. We're going to take the natural resources, where in terms of our country's money, they say, oh, we broke. Every time it's something we need to benefit the country, we broke. Oh, we need some ambulances. Oh, we broke. Oh, we need some fire trucks. Oh, we broke. Oh, we need a new building because this one is full of mold. Oh, we broke. We ain't got no money. But then when we look, we see them traveling everywhere. We see them all over the world.
With the image at all. The optics
it doesn't.
That's wrong.
It doesn't. And see, they send some of their trucks a car. The prime minister should be able to have a $200,000 car. Okay, maybe. But this is just one item in a long stretch of inconsistencies, of things that offend us, mismanagement. When you have people like Fred and those traveling and sending back pictures of them eating steak and caviar and champagne.
I didn't see those pictures.
Yeah, that he sent those pictures back. That was annoying. All right, that was a little over a year ago.
Okay,
that was insulting. You see, you're not just traveling. If you were just traveling, that's one thing. But when you send back pictures of you on the camel feeding the monkeys and doing this kind of still hurting. You see, because I have civil servants everywhere saying we're not getting paid properly, we're not getting our overtime, we're not getting this, we're not getting that.
That is correct.
And this is where the problem comes in. You can't say you have money for the car, but then have the people at Parliament, the parliamentary registry, they shut it down last week, Friday. Last week Friday, there days before that, but last week Friday they said, okay, y'all. I was there the week before that. A week passed, they still money, and they shut it down. They didn't call the news or whatever. They just left.
You mean the people?
Parliamentary registry. Last week Friday, they just left. They said, okay, we went, we spoke to the media, we said what we had to say. Y'all buying
I saw
car.
something on that.
Y'all buying car. Y'all balling, living your best life, carrying all these people away and traveling, and y'all can't pay us. They just brought
There's
a new.
Really a disparity.
Yes.
Because it seems like as if you're straight, but it seems like it's really bad now. If you're not a part of the grouping, you dead outside. You on the outside looking in, and nothing happening for you.
And what ended a lot of people was not just buying the car, but the lying to us and insulting our intelligence. That's the part that really offends a lot of people. It's one thing if you just buy the car and you say, okay, we bought a car. We felt that the prime minister should have a car, and we have the car. Okay, we're gonna try to be more frugal moving forward. But to come and these lies that don't add up and don't make sense. And this has always been Philip Brave Davis's MO. From we call it the Bamsey scandal. Oh, the place has insurance, nothing to worry about. Then you find out he lied to the House of Assembly. In a civilized country, he would be forced to resign. If you lied to Parliament, you must resign. But of course, not in the Bahamas. They don't follow the rules. They want us to follow the rules. All right. He always one thing, and it turns out to be another thing. We're not gonna raise the fuel surcharge. All right, and then the fuel surcharge raises. Right, a couple of weeks later. All right, everything he said is not going to happen. It happened. So we have come to know that this particular prime minister lies. All right, and so now when they come with this story about the permanent secretary, it's a problem, Steve, because the permanent secretary can't sign for that. All right,
you're talking about I saw it
for the car.
This gentleman, what's his name, Mr.
David Davis.
Right, Davis. Right.
They said that he was transferred.
Yes,
all right.
Saw that.
First of all,
was that true? That wasn't true, eh?
Yeah, he
got transferred, but it wasn't on this car thing.
It had nothing to do with his car thing. Okay. Our organization, we have watchdog organizations, and Maria Daxon had sent him an email from last year. All right, trying to get information about the finances of that ministry, that they did not report, and he responded to her that he is no longer in the office of the prime minister. He has been transferred somewhere else. All right, and we have the email where he sent that. So he wasn't just transferred because this thing happened.
I see.
He's been transferred a long time, but they are using that to make it seem like he was just transferred.
The trolls have been using that.
Yeah, and the government.
The prime minister used that.
Well, they announced that he was transferred. They sent out an announcement that he was transferred, but they did it in an effort to make it seem like he was transferred. He was just transferred because of this thing. As, he did that. The prime minister didn't authorize it. Oh, we transferred.
That's what I thought. When I saw it, I say, oh man, I say David would make that. He would not make that kind of decision.
No, like I said, we have the email because we after last year sent him an email and he said he was transferred at that time. We have the email, and so they're insulting our intelligence. It takes this has to go through the car be requested. All right.
Yes.
Prime Minister had to have requested it. Okay. The financial secretary have to sign on to that, not the permanent secretary, the prime minister who has to sign it. All right, and sign it because he is the minister of finance. So you can't say you didn't know this guy was coming.
I tell you, boy, sometimes when you're in charge of this thing, you're the prime minister and you're the minister of finance, you can't really get
The document they've been saying around has the Ministry of Finance on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ingram, though, is in the picture. They brought his name in. The Office of Prime brought his name in because they referred to the fact that in 2011, he was the one who this Mercedes.
Right.
And, they used the car, all these different for the different prime ministers, including Brave Davis, they said, in their press release, the Ministry of Finance, the Office of Prime Minister. Mr. Ingram came back and said, no, sir, that vehicle would not have cost $3,000.
So $300,000.
$300,000. That appears unlikely, he said. And
but he didn't deny it.
He didn't deny that he got the car, the PM, the former prime minister.
Yeah, he didn't deny it. He just said it's unlikely that it cost that.
Yeah.
But here's where the problem is, Steve. And here's where Bahamians have to open their eyes. So in response to this scandal with the car, the PLP and the PLP trolls responded by F&M spent a bunch of money, $500,000, in Europe when they embassy.
Yeah,
they started talking about how Ingram spent his $300,000 in the car. They started talking about another embassy that was open and they spent $1 million on furniture in the previous F&M administration. They started talking about how the F&M spends and they started going back and forth. You know what they're showing you? Both of them do it. So both of them are telling the Bahamian public, don't trust us. They're saying, don't trust the PLP and the F&M because the two of us squander the money when we get in there. That's all they're saying. And I hope that the people are listening because they are telling you have to believe them. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. Okay, is saying that the F&M is doing this and the F&M is saying the PLP. I think we need to put someone else in there.
Yeah.
So that we could get something different. Because what happens is if you have a problem with the buying the car and all these other stuff that's going on, you are guaranteed that if you put the PLP and F&M back, it's going to continue. And they are telling you it's going to continue because this is all they've been doing.
Lord.
And so it's showing you that we need change.
So that's the reasons why you've been out there in the face of the people, and the people have gravitated to you big time. I mean, in recent times, the people have really been gravitating to you. That's all they can hear on the streets. They have from Lincoln. Lincoln has to do this. And that's situation, especially for those who are in the governance today, because they now know that the writing is on the wall. They can actually see the writing on the wall now. That these people actually want change. And I believe that because of the many things that you've been doing, looking at all the things in the country, especially the situation on the Carmichael Road and all these things that you've been taking a serious look at. You seem to be caring for the people who you are trying to serve. And I believe it's gone well for you. Where I said what I see, I believe that's going well for you. And you should be keeping that up if you want to. But the point is, will it pay off at the end of the day? Now, I know that you're not just doing this because you just want to get them out of power. You're doing this because you've got a plan of action. You want to do some things to make sure that your plan of action comes into being and the people can prosper, really prosper under a different leadership, an entire chain leadership that's going to happen in this country.
That's all we want, and the government and the system is fighting us down hard. They're fighting against us. A lot of Bahamians don't realize how hard they're fighting us because they are terrified of us being in there and making things right. They want the country to continue to fall apart because they're benefiting from the decay. They're benefiting from that. I just want to make this announcement, to everyone listening to me. All right, this is a serious fight, and the government is desperate for to stay in power. Shane D. Gibson, he was the Minister of Immigration at one point, responsible for immigration at one point. He has filed a criminal libel lawsuit against the chairman of the COI. All right, Charlotte Green. He has filed a criminal, and this is how they're using the police to do their dirty work. Okay, he is filing a criminal action. I don't know if I said lawsuit, but he's filing a criminal complaint against Ms. Charlotte Green of the coalition of, because she made a statement that he allegedly, talking about NIB and saying NIB, we needed the raids at a long time, and this, and people went under that post, that Facebook post, and they were berating him. A lot of people said things about him, including, people feel like the government has been NIB's money and mismanaging NIB's money.
They said so as well.
And so
they've been saying that.
Yeah, so people feel that way, and so Ms. Green also said that under that post allegedly, because I don't know that it is actually her that actually did the post. To be honest with you,
right.
But a statement was also there, and so he decided of all the people who made all those comments, he going against her, right? And so he will unlock her up. And this is a way to attack us and silence their political opponents. All right?
Wow.
And so, but Shane D. Gibson needs to realize that there are all kinds of, no convictions, but all kinds of complaints in the police computer about his actions in public life that he has to answer for. He's a public figure. So, and I say that, and I will add the word allegedly, and then he could go check the police computer. All right? Everything is right there in the system. Now, no one has ever convicted him of anything, and that is the facts. But the fact of the matter is, they've been robbing this country for far too long. NIB is the way it is, and I watched your show a few days ago with the official Mr. Jason Moxie,
yes, he was there.
IB the other day, and I felt sorry for him.
Why?
That he
Why
would.
did you feel
He
so?
was the person who was sent to try to misdirect the Bahamian people, in my opinion. All right, because the nonsense he was saying was clearly misdirection. He didn't deal with the real issues and the real facts. All right, it was prestidigitation, and so he came on here on the fact that the money was being spent on other things.
Well, he was asked that question, and he simply said that was not so. He says that the people have been believing that, but so the government pays its bills, is what he said.
He was playing with words. All right. Okay. So they bought several mansions, and we've shown the document of this. They bought several mansions in the Skyline Drive, Sanford Drive area. Okay. Several mansions, and these mansions were derelict conditions. Okay. Derelict mansions.
This is national insurance.
National insurance, and we had a live where we showed all of the documents, the actual deeds. There's a court matter going on with that right now, so they cannot hide where they are saying that they own this property because they are fighting the actual owners for it. And so, how is the government paying for that? Why would you take our money and buy derelict mansions?
They would call that an investment. They would say that's an investment. They have a portfolio where they have investments that they have to go and improve the funding that they have at this particular time.
A derelict mansion, is not an investment for NIB. What are you using it? How are you gonna get this money? You're gonna do Airbnbs now? What are you gonna do? You're gonna rent it out? You're gonna rent it out and get Airbnbs? All right, that is where the problem is. The money has been squandered. Things that we don't need them to squander it on. Okay. All right. And they are hiding from the real facts. They've bought $544 million worth of government bonds. So NIB is investing in the government. When is the government paying them back? Did he bring any documents? He spoke here without bringing any documents in front of him. And that's what people were on the live saying. Where are your documents? You're just making these claims, but you're not showing anything. You're not proving anything. Okay. We need to see the actual facts. All right? I can show you.
So you were not satisfied with what he'd been here.
They're trying to make it look like...
You saying that he's misdirecting the people.
He was misdirecting the people. And that's what I have a problem with. I have the information in front of me right now. For anyone who wants to see it now, all right, with what they were doing with our money. So from 1974 to 1977, all right, he actually tried to bring that up. It was very liquid, all right. NIB collected $58 million in contribution and paid out over $6 million as benefits assistance, all right? The reserve fund was $42 million, all right? That is 1974 to 1977. And remember, he brought up this some $300 million figure from this 2% thing that they were bringing up, this magical figure, and that they spent that money on clinics, all right?
Yes, he did talk about the clinics.
Why did you spend our money on clinics when you have tax money to do that? Why? Don't spend our NIB money that's for our pension on clinics. That's for the tax. That's what we pay our taxes for.
You believe that they were spending monies when they didn't have to spend monies and they out to the government when they didn't have to.
They were using it as a piggy bank. All right. And we do not believe that they were getting the monies back. And that is why we are out. Because look at this. I'm going to say this, and I want to make people because he didn't do this yesterday. All right, and you can go to
Wednesday, yeah.
Yes, and yeah, Wednesday. Thank you. So period. They made $58 million and out $6 million. Okay. Next, $42 million was the reserve. So let's keep going. All right. So we're gonna go from that 78. That's the next one to 1980. They paid out. Sorry, they received $70 million and paid out $14.8 million. All right, and the reserve fund grew to 107. So there's growth, continued growth. Right. All right. Let's keep going. So this period now is 1981 to 1983. Good. They made $77 million and paid out $34.8 million, all right, in benefits and assistance. The fund grew to $161 million. What's this talk about the fund is going to run out? No. Okay, let's keep going. All right. Let's go now to 1984 to 1986. All right. And while this is going on, building and all this stuff is happening. They're building branches and all this kind of stuff. Building locations and that kind of stuff, that's an investment because it helps you collect money. So we don't mind that. All right. But here we go to this period. They collected $131 million and paid out $63 million. Okay. What's the problem? It grew to $306 million. Okay. So it's constant growth. Let's keep going. 1987 to 1989, all right? And we've even passed the clinic being built, etc. 1987, 1989, they collected $168.3 million and paid out $84.8 million, all right? As benefits and assistance. It grew to $500 million, $448.6 million. It's growing. That's right at the end of 1989. Let's keep going. All right, because he didn't give these numbers. All right, don't make it seem like from the break it was running out and they knew they would have had to do something by this. No.
So by this time, you're saying this 1989 now. By this time, the actuaries are getting ready to file a report that says that, look here, the monies are running out. That's going to happen later down in 20.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Everything was okay. All right. But here we go. So as of December 1st, 1992, NIB reserve funds stood over $600 million. They received 189.6 in contributions, and they paid out 117.7 million. All right. So it's always a bunch of extra money. So where did we go wrong? Let's keep going. So let's go to 1993 to 1995. All right. So here we go. So some strange stuff started happening. Right here, Ingram took over. And it said the NIB reserve stood at $731 million. They stopped saying how much in, how much out.
This is 1990.
This is in 1993. This is after, this is for 1993 to 1995. This is after Ingram took over. So is someone touching the piggy bank? That's a good question. Now, remember, one thing Ingram did do when he came in, he started giving raises and lump sums to all the civil service, police, and all of those. I was a recipient of some of that. So maybe that's where the money was coming from. All right. And maybe he was doing it for political reasons. But as you can see, it grew from 600 to 731 million. So obviously more came in than went out. So even though they didn't say what went in and out, we know more came in and went out, but we feel the money was touched. All right. But let's keep going. So the next year, they again don't say how much went in and how much went out, but they say it grew to 891.6 million at the end of 1998. So they're still growing. All right. Now they're keeping secret how much really coming in, because much more might have been coming in and they might have been spending the money, but they're keeping secrets. So 1999 to 2000, it grew to over $1 billion. That's all they say. It grew to over, on their website, by the way, to over $1 billion in 2000. So this thing is growing. So you got $1 billion. How many companies make it to $1 billion? That's called a unicorn in the business world. So this thing is doing very, very well. The money's increasing. So let's go to 2001, 2002. 2002. It grew to $1.1 billion at the end of 2021. So this thing is still growing. All right. So it's still growing. But all of a sudden, this when the funny talk start. All right. Shane and the crew took over because at the end of this, by 2002, but the funny talk started, Steve. So you saw the constant growth. You haven't seen much company grow this fast. All right. The money was there. Now, all of a sudden, with all this growth, no losses, not 1 year, not 1 month, not 1 week of losses, right? So from 1974 to now, why are you talking this funny talk? And now they're saying the completion, let me make sure I get to the right part. They're talking about the actuary, right? This is 7 actuary report. The main findings of the review were, if the present contribution rate and benefit provisions are maintained, the National Insurance Fund will be exhausted in 2029, right? Should this occur, the contribution rate would have to be increased to 17% and then gradually thereafter to over 25% for NIB to continue meeting its benefit commitments. This is what they're talking about now. Gradually increasing it to 25%. All right. Why were you talking about that from then? And all you had was growth. All you had growth. This thing was growing.
Changed. You're saying something changed. As you said it, you put it, somebody touched the money or something happening. And they now started to go on the other side looking at what's going to happen down the road now.
They were using this as a piggy bank.
I believe that the piggy bank was used because they want to do more construction or that kind of stuff or infrastructure.
And other things, other investments.
Yes.
All right. Other investments. And you're taking our money to make investments. And we gave some examples of some loose investments they did. Careless investments that they did, in our opinion. All right. Which included derelict mansions. All right. That seemed to be linked to the government or politicians.
I've got a question that I've got to ask some questions on that, because that is something that would raise your eyebrows and say, well, what is this all about? I will ask some questions and find out some answers on that.
Yeah, it's utterly ridiculous. I went over this. I did a live a couple of weeks ago, going for my live on NIB, where I said NIB is operating like a Ponzi scheme, and you'll see where I put down this whole thing
Yeah,
with
I saw that. I saw that.
All of the documentation. I didn't talk like him with all this. You just talking off the top of his head and just denying everything. I showed the documentation and asked them to answer these questions for us, because obviously, if they're making investments, they just need to make the investments.
Well, they now saying that they are trying to overhaul NIB to the point where they're going to bring in the kind of managers and the kind of people skilled enough to do the kind of new things that they want to do down there at NIB, and we should see the benefits of it in short order. But of course, they said that with the 1.5% increase of the actual rates, that is going to happen, and eventually, over time, I suppose, they will give us a periodic report that says that this is how it's going, this is how we're improving the sum, that kind of thing. But this is based upon the fact that they say now that the actuaries have said in that report from 20th of 2018, December of 2018, that they need this money badly, because they need, that's been some years ago, and they're saying now the fund will depreciate, just collapse and that kind of stuff by 2028, which is like 4 years away from.
Tell us how.
now.
They have never shown us the numbers to say why. They're saying that,
Yeah, that's what
but
they're
not actually showing us these are the amount of people we have to pay. This is the amount of money we'll need by 2028, and we will not have enough income. You know what's strange what the gentleman said? Something strange he said. He said that the workforce is 160,000.
Yes.
A few years ago, they were saying the workforce was 220,000.
A lot of people have not been employed. A lot of people have not been able to get jobs and that kind of stuff. That's what happens.
That's not what it is.
What is it?
There's still a workforce out there, but it's an illegal workforce.
Okay.
That you
Well, that
cannot
could be another
count,
reason. That could be
and
another
that
reason
will
too.
not pay NIB.
That's good. That could be the
And you
real
heard the
reason.
contractor saying if you get rid of all the illegals, we won't be able to wait. The workforce is now illegal.
Wow.
And so instead of the 227,000 Bahamians, you got 160,000 that you can count, and a lot of people who can't contribute to NIB. So the rest of you all Bahamians who stay here and don't go away, put up with this nonsense, we can make you all pay more while we bring in the illegals to work and replace you.
Do you think that's what they're thinking?
Wake up. They are letting them flood in the country in droves.
Well, we know that. Immigration front.
And they're doing nothing. And they're pretending that they're doing something. They'll go in a shantytown, break down some houses, break down part of it, and leave the rest. The people in Abaco, I just came back from there, said they gave the on the southern side of Essie-Boodle, they gave them an extension. They gave the legal immigrants an extension to stay there. Okay, you all stay here. We've already put in the news that we've cleared the shantytown, so we don't have to worry about that. No one is going to come and look. The news isn't stationed here. So you all just stay, and we go ahead.
So
if anyone asks.
they gave the people an extension to be there for a longer time.
Yes. They didn't touch the farm and these other shanty towns at all, right? But they did the Essie-Boodle Highway, where I went and exposed a few weeks before that. And they took down some of the houses on the northern side, and then they left the houses on the southern side. And as far as they're concerned, we bring the media, we show the media, see, we broke the houses. Look, houses gone. You just put on the headline of the Guardian, because it's the Guardian that keeps pushing stories favorable to this government. They're a puppet for this government now. You put it that, oh, shantytown cleared, and then you leave these set because no one coming to look. And they are playing with them. You understand? So how much unemployed? The unemployment numbers are down because when they question you, they ask you if you are actively looking for a job. If you know, they don't count you. You understand? So they don't count you as unemployed. That's why unemployment is down. And that's legal. Because you're not looking. You're not trying to be employed. And so they can come back and brag and say that unemployment is down. And herein lies one of the problems.
We got to investigate that. We're going to talk about more of that in just a minute. Let me just take a call or two. We are on hard copy. It's just a few minutes before 6 o'clock. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Mr. McKinney. Just a quick note.
Because we can't hear her.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, please. Hold on a second. Go ahead, ma'am. Are you there? You were saying, ma'am?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, what I was going to say, I was just listening to Mr. Thompson. He had called into one of the local radio shows probably about an hour ago now. He's one of the people on the local government down in Abaco. And what he said was, with the government coming in and pushing down the shanty towns as they did in Abaco, what they left all of the debris, all of the material, was just pushed down.
Mm-hmm.
And he said now what the folks are doing is they're going back to the site.
And collect those things.
They're taking all of the lumber. They're taking all of the lumber from the site, and they're going building in another area. So they haven't stopped building. Yeah, okay, you break my house down on this side of the street, but we gotta come and get all of this material, and they take it right across to the next side of the street, and they're rebuilding. So these people are determined.
Yeah, I get your point.
Illegal structures.
We can pick that up later, but I'm dealing with some other things right now that I want to get.
But too, and just before I let you go, you talk about getting blackmail and Mr. Thurston and all of Mr. Cartwright and everybody in the room. Mr. Bean is on the show now. I want to hear him say he's going to be in that room, please.
Absolutely. We have him on the show. Thank you very much for your call. Please hold.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. She was talking about the other people who want to come here as well and form basically a whole partnership, a whole focus, because there are some people we've been talking to, yourself, Ricardo Thurston, Blackmail, people like that, who in fact want to. They've been setting the pace now in this country, and that is a fact. The people have been seeing all do things like that they want to see happen in the country, and they are impressed with all of you. And so we're planning on putting together a whole team. That's what the lady was talking about just now, to bring everybody in the room right here on this particular show, because this is where it's been happening. And we want you to talk about those things that really affects this country. That's going to be a very, very powerful thing. But that's something that we'll talk about later on.
Let me say this to you. I've been calling for a long time because our country is on fire. All right. The barbarians are at the gate. And if you have the same cause as other persons,
yes,
it's time to unite together.
Absolutely.
There's no reason for us to be standing off from each other. One fella say, "Oh, I don't want it to seem political because Lincoln is a politician. I don't want it to seem political." Listen, our country is in trouble, and it doesn't matter if a political party takes up a cause. The PLP took up causes for our black people in the day, and you didn't say it was political because they were fighting for blacks to have their rights. Or to be able to work on Bay Street or have bank accounts. It wasn't political. It was a cause of the people, which is what politics means. It means affairs of the people, or of the citizenry. That's what polis means. Yeah. And so it doesn't make sense. I'm over here talking with carbon credits. This other fellow over talking with carbon credits, but he don't want to associate with anyone political because he believes the PLPs and the FNM won't be a part of it. That is so utterly nonsensical. We need to come together. And if someone doesn't want to join with you to get what belongs to us because they support their party, they ain't coming anywhere.
But let me tell you.
Because the parties have taken this stance. Mm-hmm. The PPs don't want us to benefit from our carbon credits. Brave and TFIT. All right? The FNMs don't want us to benefit from our carbon credits. All right? That's not them. The oligarchs don't want it. They don't want it. All right? And so the only people are going to be regular, serious Bahamians who are represented by the COI who want to see this happen. And everyone who is serious about this country needs to put down all of their imaginations and join together and fight this fight, because because you can
That's the
fight
cause.
it together.
That's the cost. No question about it. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you? Good afternoon. How are you? Are you there?
One of them is
Yeah, please,
that
please, please. Oh, hello, hello.
the number
Hello,
of-
hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Let's start over, please. Okay?
Okay.
Thank
I'll
you.
start over.
Thank you.
Just a couple of things I want to leave you with as a thought. And one of them is that it's not easy for young black men in this country that are Bahamian to find jobs. And I have two little stories to tell you. One of them concerns a young man that was looking for work. And some of us support them and help them and encourage them. And he said to me he went to ask for this job. And the person who was hiring told him no. And then he sent his friend who is Creole. And he was hired immediately. Okay? Another case, a young boy who is struggling to get his act together as a young Bahamian, not very much support, basically, except there are a circle of people around him that are trying to do what they can. Goes to the hospital because he has problems with his eyes. He found a job. He graduated from the training center with a chef degree, well, a beginner chef in cooking. Goes to the hospital, complains about his eyes, and they send him to Sandlands for 31 days.
Go ahead.
In the process of going to Sandlands, he loses his job. And so a lot of young people that you see walking up and down like having events, this is what they're doing with our young men. Because even if they had a question, they could have said, okay, continue your job and come see us on this date and let's see. Why would you whisk somebody away from their life, away from a job, a full-time job, put them up there, put them on drugs, and kick them 31 days later? What's the point?
So we're saying, what are you really saying about this whole matter now? You're saying that they're not giving our men a job, they're not helping them all.
They're not giving our men, they're not helping men. They are not helping our men, and the drugs don't fall from the sky.
Yeah.
You know, you remember when the Black Panthers were fighting in America, and all of a sudden Harlem and everywhere they were was swimming in drugs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's the drug issue going on in this country. While all the other people, all the other immigrants are working and happy and enjoying our land, our men and our women are, mostly men I see, they're out there hooked on drugs.
Okay.
She's correct.
Thank you for your call. I got you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not only their drug problem, Steve, but the illegal immigrants are the persons who are selling the drugs and controlling the drug market.
That's a sure thing. That's what they're telling me.
Yes, many of our young men are buying drugs, marijuana particularly, from those guys, and they're not realizing that they're lacing the drugs. They are attacking our men.
Are you serious of that?
Yes.
So
The drugs that they're buying.
This is a systematic thing that they're dealing with.
From those people
They
from
got
the
a
South.
drug stock and barrel on them.
Yeah.
Things.
They're buying the drugs from them and they are being laced. This is happening right now. Not only are they controlling the drug market and making up all the money, and now they're buying houses. The shanty town is not the big deal. They are buying up houses now.
You told me that before in Apico.
Yes, in Nassau too. All right? They have the drug money. They are like our big drug boys back in the day with all the money that everyone looked up to with the fancy. They are now that.
So this problem really, Lincoln, is about not just being emotional. This is about saving the actual country, because if these things are happening, as the lady said just now, and as you've been saying, they're getting our guys to smoke this dope or whatever it is that they're doing. They're lacing it with some foreign material. Guys are losing their head. They have a takeover that they bring. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
So it is more than just an emotive thing for us to say, well, we need them out of here. We need them out of here. We don't know the half of it, is what I'm saying. Can I say that we don't know the half of what's going really on in this?
Yeah. I'll get back to that. I just want to touch on one thing I wanted people to see. I have documents in front of me with NID, right? And your guy said something about they're getting money back for these buildings. All of these clinics,
Jason Moxley.
Yeah, Jason Moxley. Sorry about that.
He's not my guy, but
yeah. I didn't mean to say that like that.
Yeah.
He was on the show. Sorry. They built all of these buildings, and he's talking about how the government is paying back, and they pay late, but they pay back, right?
He did say that.
All of the Attorney General's office, and all of these buildings that you see that NIB built around here. All right. Let me look at the actual numbers, not his imaginary stuff. So no one said the government doesn't get any money back. All right. But here we go. Here we go. I'm looking at their actual financials again. And financials is saying income from properties, right? The income that they're getting from properties is $3.2 million.
$3.2 million from properties.
So all these buildings you got around here,
it's a lot of them.
All you getting is $3.2 million. Brent Imminent was getting more than that for the post office. I mean, what? All these buildings. I mean, look at the Attorney General's office. If you was to rent each section of that, you would make millions of dollars from that one building alone. How is it that right here, just the numbers, this their income? Yeah, let me blow this up and show you. Income from property. And of course, this is in millions, so you add thousands, so you add 3 zeros. $3.2 million. See it right there? Yeah. So all those clinics, all these buildings you bill in, all you getting is $3.2 million. And that's a good investment? With our money? It's facts. All right? Don't come to the Bahamian people playing. We are not our grandparents' generation. We are going to look at it, and you're going to have to break this down for us.
Yeah, we cannot approach this thing in a flippant way, I mean, I'm having to say this today, right? Because when Mr. Moxley came here, he's a veteran in the business all of his life, national insurance, okay? 40 plus years veteran, okay? So he knows a whole lot about this whole deal. What I'm saying there, the lady who was supposed to come to the show that particular day, along with Mr. Moxley, she did not appear because she had some other thing that she was doing and she could not leave it. But the lady's name is Mrs. Tammy Francis, and she's been employed with the National Insurance Board for about 22 years thereabouts. And she's held every position in that particular company. So she was the person, and she's one of these persons who was the actuary people. She's one of those persons who could, in fact, would have been able to give the better view on the actuary report and everything else to the show on that particular day. That was Wednesday past. Okay, on the 20th of the month. She wasn't here, so Mr. Moxley was able to do as best as he could because of the fact that she was not here. She has all those numbers, you see. That is what was missing from the show. So I'm going to say this to you. I'm going to invite Mrs. Tammy Francis again to the show so that we can get the actual numbers from the actuary process. She did science, so she is. So she's the person who would really have those numbers and say to us and give you the definitive report that you are seeking to have mapped out for you so you can say, oh, this is how it actually happened. Now, I know you got some things on the website. I'm just saying to you, appreciate that Mrs. Tammy Francis was not here on that day, Wednesday past, so she couldn't provide that information that we really wanted to find out from her. You appreciate that, right?
Of course I do.
That's what I'm saying.
Of course I do. But I can speak to what he did say because he's an expert and he has some numbers in his head that were factual numbers. But see, numbers don't lie, but people play with numbers, to lie. And so if you're saying that, okay, they build these buildings and the government pays off good, and so it's a good investment, but I don't see that in the numbers.
I understand.
If you're only getting $3.2 million from income from all these government buildings that we built,
right,
you ain't serious. dollars.
Yeah, that
Because you tell me you spend $60 or $90 million on a building, and
getting three.
no, you're even getting to. That's all the buildings. That's all
of them.
That's all combined. And look how much money they were spending on these. Sometimes the budget starts at 30 million, next thing they 60 million. You're like, how did you get there? So they're not trying to get any money back from that. They're just spending the money, and this is where we have the question.
And you believe
Steve.
that's why the fund is and that's why you think that we need this money so bad now, because they've mismanaged the money. That's what you're saying.
Steve, he made a statement that I don't know if you're paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to retire when you're 65.
Yes.
Right? That's the real retirement age to get your full money. Right? But the life expectancy is 70.
Mm-hmm.
You're only getting back 5-6 years after working for 45 sometimes years. So you paid them for all these years, and you only get back 5-6 years. And many of us don't live to retirement age. Many behemoths. Look at the obituary.
He made that point too.
Yeah. And so in the pensions, and then when you look at the numbers, though, I have the documents here, but this radio, so it's hard to show people. There is no year where we actually, in terms of our income and investments, brought in less than we put out. All right, I'm not including the stuff that happened with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's no year. So why are you then trying to rape the Bahamian people because of the lavish spending of the government? Tell them to bring the real numbers. Tell them when they come, have the facts in front of them. Don't tell me the government pays rent. Okay, show me how much rent they pay. Why didn't he say he works there? He knows this document better than me. They probably helped put this document together. Why didn't he say, okay, let me go to the document. Let me show you how much money the government gets back from these buildings. He didn't do that. They are playing with us. And they're playing with our children's future, because when your child that you're going to leave on this earth, and your grandchildren, Steve, they're going to be paying 25% of their salary to the NIB and getting less benefits. How is it that I could pay less than what they could be charging? Be charging $400 a month. All right. If you're making $400 a week, right? You'll be paying $400 a month at that point. How is it that I could pay less for my health insurance than they charge, but my health insurance gives me more benefits?
Well,
my health insurance could be up to $1 million, up to $2 million, up to $10 million, whatever it is that they normally do. But you won't ever get that much money back from NIB. Not if you retire at 65 and you live to 70. So it's a scam. They've been playing with the money, and they need ways to get money from this. So they're just asking us for more. Let me just say this, Steve. If all you need in July is 1.5%, they could invest the monies they have now on the stock market and make more than 1.5% in a year. They can make much more than that. Norway made 20%, 20+% on the markets during COVID. They made $250 billion by investing on the markets. So if they were serious, then they could invest.
I hear what you're saying, and it makes some sense what you're saying, but I ask you this, okay? If you're saying that, how do you give an account that the actuaries have been saying these things in recent times, right up to 2018? They've been saying these things in recent times that you need this increase. And that's one of the reasons why the government has gone behind and say, well, we do need the increase, and so that's what they're doing. That sounds like a simple matter to me. If you're looking at just making sure that the fund is saved and we are able to last some more years. But if you're saying that they're going to do these things like invest on the markets and all that may be an idea. That may be a clever idea how they can do some things as well. I'm not saying I'm an expert on it, but I'm saying I take your word for it that they can actually do that. I'm saying, though, that the bottom line is that people now know that we have to pay some more money because that is what the government of the Bahamas, who's supposed to be real with us, are telling us. That's what I'm saying. Now, how do you supersede that and how do you get around that to make sure that what you're saying is the actual information that we need to consume and understand and make happen for
Because
us?
based on the documents they provided, we don't see the money coming in
understand.
and out. We see where you have $544 million, $1 million government bonds,
Yes.
but we don't see where you're getting paid that back.
I see.
We see 0.0001%
Yeah.
as your returns
Mhm.
with the interest on this. It's right in the document. I talk about all this in my lives. That means you never intended to get anything back from this. They need 1.5%. Let me tell you what President Lincoln Bain would have done. We would have had experts in the markets invest more of that money in the markets so that we could get a proper return. They only need if they need 1.1%, and that's going to help, we could beat that. Here's the stock market improvements over the years, Steve. 2009, 25.9% was your investment. Just leave it there and wait till the end of the year. 2010, 14.82%. 2011, 2.10%. One of the worst. Still more than 1.5, right? And that was in 2011 when there was a real bad turn. In 2012, 15.89%. In 2013, 32.15%. The next year, 14, 13.52%. All right. In 2015, 1.38%. All right. In 2016, 11.77%. Then 21.68%. All right. And as we keep going, most of 31. That's 2019 now. All right. This is 2019. That's Dorian year. 31.21% the stock market grew. All right. This average. And next year in 2020, bad year. All right. For the whole world, 18.2%. That's COVID. The next year, again, 2021, we were still in lockdown, still as COVID, etc. 28.48%. It's the markets. All right. And so 2023, 26.06%. If you need, we need a government that's going to be thinking now. See, the old ways are not going to work. In the beginning, they weren't investing the money. That's why they could only tell you what came in and what they paid out. They weren't thinking, let's invest the money and multiply it. That's what most companies do. Even companies, Caterpillar was about to go bankrupt. That's a famous tractor company. And someone said to the CEO, we should just invest this in the markets. They invested in Forex and some other things in the markets. And they are now making as much or sometimes more probably from what they invest than their actual business. And so other companies save Caterpillar. So now other companies are getting involved and doing it.
That's what we should be doing.
We need, because our lead, they have a law that we can't invest outside. We can't invest in the markets as a people, individuals. We can't. The government can't. But the people can't. All right? And so because we don't think on that level, because we've kept our people locked down, like when they didn't let slaves read because they didn't want them to be educated about who they were, etc. Because they keep us locked down, our leaders can't think like that. We don't need anyone leading the country who was born in England as a colony of England. It's time for the new generation because income comes in differently in this generation.
It does.
You don't make income by buying and selling anymore. You make income by investing and proper investments. And this is where we need a new type of leadership that understands
So we need a direction over at NIB to bring about the kind of investments that we need, government investments, overseas if we have to, so that we can get the monies on the dollar the way that we should have it in the pensions and in the benefits, the program of NIB.
Then they wouldn't need to take more money from us. Go invest it on the markets.
Yes, I understand.
And so they may say, it's a risk to invest more on the markets. The markets are always growing. The market has been growing forever. All right. So yes, there is a risk, but there's also a risk that if you raise to 25% of our salary, there's a risk that employees are going to employ less people. So you're still going to make less money because you have one less person working. There's other risks that you're going to destroy the economy. All right. It makes more sense to have NIB invest. Now they have some investments out there. They have $20 million investments in these kinds of stocks out there, you know, but they got over $60 million in investments in their companies like Focal. All right. And so why you invest in companies we know y'all are really controlling? You're taking our NIB money to invest in things like Focal, and it's probably going to be used to buy the fuel for BPL, but then you're still borrowing.
Oh boy.
You did a fuel surcharge that really we found out wasn't nothing to do with fuel or the price of fuel. The fuel surcharge was to pay back a loan, $50 million loan to the government. But the government owes $77 million to BPL. The government owes $77 million to BPL. Why would BPL have to borrow $50 million from the government? And we got to pay that back. And that was our money anyway. Think about that. Steve,
it's mind-boggling.
If you owe me $10, why I got to borrow $5 from you? I could just say, Steve, give me $5 you owe me, right? Why are they not doing that? Because they're playing digitation. They're playing with it. They're moving stuff around, and that's all they're doing and tricking us and telling us we have to pay. And coming looking intelligent and wearing their coat suits and coming quoting numbers and playing with the numbers, but not giving you the real numbers. BC is raising. BC is bankrupt because they're playing with it. NIB is bankrupt because they're playing with it.
What would you do?
One,
if you were there running the show as the new leader of the country, what would be your forte on how you deal with these matters?
One, NIB is not
about the success.
NIB is not going to be needed by Bahamians. NIB is going to be for the foreigners who come to the Bahamas to work for us.
That's what you do.
To work for us, because we're going to be benefiting from our natural resources. You won't need NIB anymore. We're going to make sure that carbon credit money goes to Bahamians in their pockets. This is what we're fighting for. And someone say, oh, you all are going to come and do the same thing. No. We want it for us and our family too. So first and foremost, we won't need to be arguing with NIB and how much it is, because we are going to benefit directly from our natural resources and our carbon credits. Okay? And so that's the difference. So NIB, that'll be a thing to benefit the foreigners who come to work for us.
Understood.
Y'all enjoy that. Now we'll still contribute to that, but that's really for them to survive, not for us to be trying to live off of. We'll change the game. BPL, we go solar right away.
You'll be a game changer.
Yes. They are. It's worth $156 billion. We getting a piece of that. Before election, they said Lincoln Bain was selling dreams. Carbon credits isn't real. Remember that? Oh, it's bunch. Don't listen to him. Now all they're talking about is carbon credits. The Attorney General last week said they're going to get $900 million a year from it. I thought it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Right? But it's really $156 billion for the seagrass alone that can be monetized. That's not exactly what it is, but that can be monetized. So they're talking the numbers down to 900 million because they don't want us to benefit. They want to say, oh, it's only 900 million, so we can pay some bills with that. We can't give everybody a piece of that. So that's why they're playing with the numbers and talking it down. BPL, we immediately go solar, hydro, etc. in this nation so that electricity will be free. What they're going to do is they are going to go solar, but they're going to let Focal benefit from that. Frankie Wilson has already said it in the papers. When I was saying it from last year, people weren't listening, that they're going to let Frankie Wilson them take over the solar. So now they're making more profits because oil they have to buy in order to sell BPL. But solar is free. You're getting it from the sun. All right? And the money to build it is probably going to come from NIB anyway, the money we invested with them. So they are making free money and robbing us straight through. So then they're going to brag that, look at how we accomplish all of this solar. Look at how your electricity is going down, because it's going to go down, but it isn't going to be what it should be, free. because the carbon credits we get from building the solar plant should be enough to pay the staff and pay all of the expenses. But they ain't gonna do that.
Hold on a second. We've got calls and I've got to take my breaks. It's right now 6:26. I'm just fascinated with all the things that you've been talking about today. And it makes me think about some things that we should be, in fact, doing, because these things were predicted by one Dr. Miles Monroe a long time ago. He said that we're going to meet new people there who are doing some things that will blow our minds. And you are one such person now that's talking about blowing our minds because of the fact that you're talking an investment strategy on a lot of things that we are owning in the Bahamas, and we seem to don't be making any monies, any progress at all with where we're supposed to be going, and we're still playing a game by just paying a national insurance or paying fuel for the BPL in those places, when in fact the big investments are outside elsewhere that we can bring monies back here to make it work in our country for us. That's a fascinating thought. Let me take this call. Hard copy, how you doing?
Good evening, Mr. McKinney. Good evening, Bahamas. Mr. Lincoln Bain.
Good evening, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm calling Adrian Mott, calling from Europe, living life here. But I'd just like to say sympathies to the family in Stapleton of Ryan Russell. I think they're going to bury him tomorrow at St. Cecilia's, my clinic of 89 at Queen's College, the Russell family. Mr. Bain, man, it's a powerful. I'm here in Europe, and I hear and your energy from the Bahamas to here to Europe, and it energizes me. But we can always talk about energy, but then action. And I really applaud you for keeping up the fight and going through with it. You really, I pray God you come through as the next Prime Minister of the country. But,
thank you.
One thing I wanted to say, with the whole situation where we talk about NIB keeping it focused, NIB has been a cookie jar. Finland used to call it a cookie jar, and Ingram even used to call it a cookie jar, but Ingram got fired by Finland from his mismanagement of NIB, and Ingram went independent. A lot of us don't know our history and how things went and happened. And Ingram ran for a few years as independent. And you with COI right now, and Miss Charlotte Green, who she's really a lioness. I really applaud her, because I don't think Shane Gibson, anything he tried to do against it won't happen, it won't prosper. But just to say the idea of the whole coalition, you started, I think you KC from Freeport, you did some, and there's many people in the whole field in Bahamian politics, people who come with a good voice, blackmail with facts, and not just talking with facts. But we say, when will it come to a point where
everybody joins together?
Western, I think exactly, because I think Western, you got 10% of the votes, and it was like you had a crowd. Then we have to understand that the government has, I think the government workers are 50% in the Bahamas, hotel workers 40 something. I'm not sure of this real statistics, but you say, okay, people are threatened if they should say anything against the government. You bring the fact that brave those over in the Middle East somewhere enjoying life and living high on the hog, but the Bahamians are suffering. I had many friends die in the Princess Margaret Hospital because they couldn't afford proper medical care.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime our ministers are sick, they go away. Anytime their children need education, they send them away. When will it become a coalition? But Mr. Bain, you have what it takes to be a leader. I don't have it. I'm a simple guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we realize that point. That's what to realize. You have it, this thing that didn't talk about with you, but Ingram. Mr. Davis inherited. Perry inherited. But Hubert Ingram, if he was to run tomorrow, we would see things different because Hubert Ingram had it. And when we say, okay, how much is employed by this one, the government, how much employed the hotel, when will it become a coalition? When will the people understand that they could live like Dubai, like Finland, Norway? I mean, my children, I get paid subsidies for having children. A family, some fellas over here have 2 wives, now 15 children, and they get, my God, I can't tell you how much, I'm ashamed to tell you how much money the government gives them.
Wow.
But I'm saying, when would the outlook of the Bahamians, because when you come down to crunch time, most Bahamians who work for the government, civil servants, they're afraid to voice and even to vote, because we know about the blind voters card, blind ballot. We give you one, we give you one, you come out with the one and we give you one. We know about that. That's trickster stuff.
Yeah.
And it's constant. But where will the Bahamas begin to really lift out of this corruption, as Gilbert Morris talk about the corruption in the Bahamas? When will we really have something that's tangible for the people? Will it follow you? You got 10%, I believe, in West End. And it hurt my heart. That really knocked me off my seat. But I'm just saying.
Well, you got to be patient, my brother. You got to be patient. I hear what you're saying.
I'm just saying, we need to look at the numbers.
No, you're right about it. Yeah, because I've got to run to other callers and all that kind of stuff. But
all right, Mr. Bain, keep on strong, and we're behind you 110%. We'll even send our money. God bless.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
Steve, before you guys this is really important for me to say, to put this in perspective for Bahamians, because Bahamians will understand. The NIB's biggest investment, they did do some investment, Steve. Their biggest investment is?
What is that?
Their biggest investment is a $23.77 million investment. And I'm not talking about the government stocks. I'm talking about investment in companies. Their biggest investment is in Commonwealth Brewery Limited, $23.77 million. So yeah, you can make sure you die out from liquor before you get to that 70 years. How could national insurance, which is supposed to be based on health, have their biggest investment of any companies in Commonwealth Brewery Limited, company that is brewing alcohol and liquor? That is mind-boggling.
My Lord.
That's NIB now.
Yeah.
All right. They have you know what they invested? Because in 2018 they invested $33 million in Commonwealth Brewery and 23 point whatever million dollars in 2019. In Focal 2018, $4.074 million. 2019, it was $3.984 million. That's in Focal. All right? In Focal. So these are your companies. We see what y'all doing. We see you taking NIB money. Why didn't you bring this up when you were here, NIB? We see you taking our money and putting it in your companies to the tune of $23 million. Because this is numbers they gave us. It might be worse now. But let me tell you what we would have done, the COI would have done. They have investments in some blue chip stocks, etc., right? We would have invested in companies that do business with the Bahamas. So, for example, Carnival. Do you know how much money they have invested in Carnival? Zero. Carnival makes $20 billion a year, 10 times our yearly budget almost. They have zero investment in Carnival, but Carnival is coming and making money off of our economy. Isn't it common sense? So let me tell you, they say they need 1.5%, right? 1.5%, a measly 1.5% will help them. Steve, in the last year, I'm showing you, this is documentation. This is the market. This is Market Watch. So in the last year, Carnival made 85.05%. Their stocks increased. That's Carnival. Do you know where that's coming from? Mostly us, Steve. So why don't you, instead of raping the Bahamian people, why don't you invest in Carnival? Okay, who else is coming and using our economy to make money? So since we can't make money from it and you're giving them their keys and all that and whatever, how about Disney? Disney's stock over the last year increased 23.16%. You know they have invested in Disney? Zero. They had a...
So what are you saying? You're saying that they are more or less doing things that shores up our local thing, but where they have the monies in that particular
their own companies that the political cronies and political benefactors are benefiting from. That's what they taking INIB money for. There's other companies, legit companies, they're doing it with too, but they also put in smaller amounts in them just to say they put them. Like Royal Caribbean in 2018, they invested. They had investment of $178,000 in Royal Caribbean. $178,000. Well, Jesus, the car costs more than that.
You mean BMW?
Yes, that's 2018. I know they did for 2019. None. They cancel that. Royal Caribbean.
I got to run break. I hear what you say. I hear what you say.
We need a new Bahamas with new leaders.
No question about it.
All those qualified people with their coat suits, none of them could think of this. We don't need to own Carnival. Buy the shares and just make money from them coming here. Jesus.
We're running to the break. We've got to take a break here because we're way over time. It's 6:37 right now. And we're coming back after these words in just a minute. When we come back, we'll take calls over the telephone line because they've been holding. We're going to come right back in just a few.
So you've got your pretty flowers for the spring Easter time, but you have no fertilizer to keep them looking good, peaceful, and serene.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I had to run to the break, you see.
No problems. Go to Rocky
we have to run to the break. So we'll get back in a minute.
Get your choice of fertilizer for the springtime. As always, the prices are most affordable at Rocky Farms. So place your order.
Are you investing in Commonwealth Brewery and Folkwood and giving them millions of dollars? But the real things that could benefit us, you're investing in.
Oh Lord, this is thing. Oh boy.
I thought it was like a super wash. We are. Okay, where you going with this produce and white scraps? Wash. Yeah, I didn't say it was from outside the wash. I was saying, this for my clothes. You obey your clothes? Hey, your clothes for heavy. It's your No! I know.
Boy.
Remember the other day, that woman tried to put
manage my time bad today.
What do you mean? Making the machine crash. So I want that example. I can put my clothes on the scale so people can see how much I put in. Because too much alone can break the machine down.
I was just thinking along the lines of what you're telling me. You know, I saw when you saying what was happening. Like, Jesus,
now, how much they could hold anyway?
So a long time. That's what these guys are doing.
That's a good load.
You brought out just now.
Yeah, $24 million in the liquor company. And that's NIB. I'm not saying don't invest in the liquor company if that's what you want, but how come? Why that's your biggest investment in any company?
Roll in. Keep cool.
Serious thing.
You should be investing in our people being healthy, right? Because when they sick, it costs you.
Everything they sell, that means prompt, reliable service 24/7. Cool Tech, the only way to stay cool. Guaranteed. Call Cool Tech right now at 341-5665. Call Cool Tech today. There is a brand new podiatrist location in the heart of town. They're eager to serve you. It's
driving too much for me, man.
Expanding the services
The whole group of them, they just want to invest.
Next door to the Ministry of Labor on Rosetta Street.
That's the Paul is the fella, not Paul, Jason. He's the fella on this thing now with the. So I think he's doing that kind of work now with nations and all that. That's what he's now. He's still part of the NID and all that, so he must be the person that we look up to.
our Blake
Say, I'll just
location.
go back
Where
to
we
the
serve
okay.
folks.
Mhm.
That's
So
the
they
new
can know
Providence.
exactly what's
Call
going
them
on.
right now.
It's big business what these guys
327
doing.
Yeah.
3668 or 327-3338. Bahamas foot and ankle all the time. They're ready to view. Visit every Friday. It's a lobster, shrimp, and con special at Sandy's Cafe on Blake Road. Get your fried snappers right now. Get your fried shrimp. Get your fried anything you like. Minced lobsters and everything you like. Or you can get your crack lobsters. Or you can get your crack out any way you like it. Plus, there's baked barbecue chicken, fried wings, or barbecue chicken all day long. Fish fillet, fried snappers, and that always great tasting pea soup and dumplings with extras. Sandy's Cafe on Blake Road. Lobster Fest just for you on this Friday, every day of the week. Call them 302-5545. That's 302-5545 and make it Sandy's today over there on Blake Road.
What I like about hard copy is after listening to Steve, you go have a 411 on what's going on here in the Bahamas. I love what he's doing. He's informing the Bahamians of what's going on. Very informative. I love listening to his show every 5 o'clock. When it's 5 o'clock, it's peace.
Steve is a wonderful guy, and this station is can all. I love the station. You guys are doing pretty good. Keep it up.
If it's 5 o'clock, it's hard coffee. Steve is on the air.
All right. Yeah.
Bringing it to you from their info and make it all so clear. Ain't no spin,
Got a call for them.
ain't no chat. Like I said, it's after 5. Let me tell you where to go. Turn on just radio, 'cause it's hardcore with Steve McKinney. Oh, if you wanna hear the issues, if you wanna hear what's matter to you. Oh, if you wanna hear the issues, if you wanna hear what's matter to you.
Welcome back to our show. 6:44 is the time right now here in the country. We've been talking about national insurance for the most part today. We want to talk about immigration, but we're going to have to bring Lincoln Bain back to talk about some more of immigration, unless we can get some of that in today. But there have been many callers, and we've had to turn some people down. We've got a call on the telephone lines right now, and I want to go and talk with this particular caller at this particular time so that we can, make save day. Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Thank you.
And to your guest, Mr. Bain.
Good afternoon.
I haven't spoken with you or got a word you from the election, but I wanted to say to you, be encouraged.
Thank you.
Be encouraged. Mr. McKinney, you know the problem with NIB. The country is ripe for the picking, but it's not the Bahamians that are picking the fruit.
I see that.
Now, national insurance is a total disgrace. It's a national disgrace to the Bahamian people. And I'll tell you why, Mr. McKinney. You have, take for instance, people work for 24 years in government, 5-6 years in other private companies.
Mm-hmm.
And their pension is $280. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, what with the economy, the way it is, super value, all of these expenses, your medication, you are 70 years old. Why would you want to continue paying 70-year-old people who have already contributed to the country $280? What they did is they said that they gave us a raise. The raise was, I think, $10. What brought it up to $300? Where can you go with $300? So you turn to social services. They give you $90, and then they have a problem with giving you the $90 because then they took the old people off, like myself. Where is it? Where can we turn?
He's old.
Where can we turn? And it gives me great pleasure today to hear people speak on your show, Mr. McKinney, about solving. They can solve this problem, but they are not allowed to solve the problem.
Understood.
We can fix this, We can fix it. We can fix it if the Haitians will get serious about this country. Don't just say you love it. Show you love it.
Yes.
Support these people, Mr. McKinney. Continue doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. And I still say you can be a great consultant because you don't want to run. I asked you that a couple of years ago, and you said, no, I don't want to run, but you can be a great consultant. Take out all of these brilliant minds, pull them out from all of these closets, pull out all of these stuffs, and let's stop the foolishness that is going on in this country, making us look very ignorant.
Very true.
Internationally. Stop it. We need to stop it. And the humans need to rise up and drop the color and think about their grandchildren and this country. Have a great day.
Appreciate your call. Thank you very kindly. Lincoln, Maine. You heard the woman said, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to add in the trend that we were on.
Mm-hmm.
Royal Caribbean has Coco Key over here. They have all kind of ships that sail our waters. Royal Caribbean's stock in the last
That's a
year,
good investment. That's what you're saying.
They rose 123% in the last year.
So this is the kind of thing that you're thinking about. This is the kind of thing what your party is thinking about, your grouping, because these are sound investments. If you are looking at those numbers, the trajectory of those numbers sound pretty very
All
awesome.
the countries with sovereign wealth funds, Qatar, Dubai, Norway, etc., they're investing in blue chip stocks. All right.
So you're telling me now that this old way of thinking has us stuck in the mud by people who are just so, I guess, holding to the old guard, the people who just have the money and they have more monies, and we're not moving any step closer to any resolving the whole matter for the people of the Bahamas.
Next election, Brave Davis will be 76 years old. Michael Pintard will be 62 years old. He can go in the senior line already, all right, at the bank. And so these are people who were born in a different era. Next election, I will still be in my 40s. We need a new generation of people to come together. That doesn't mean that persons who are older can't contribute.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you need to sprinkle them some in there for their wisdom, etc., and for their experience.
Very
But
true.
in terms of the mindset to lead this country forward, we need this generation who grew up in this generation, who understands this generation, to come and innovate and think for the new Bahamas.
So you're telling me that is what the whole idea is about. Then people are ready for this thing. That's what you're saying to me. That's why you're saying that you need this change.
When Pinland took over, he was 36. When Ingram took over, he was 44. All right, we need another generation. It's time for new ideas, man. The old, go of that baton and let it go. We need to get a finish line. Let that go and let us run with it.
Understood. Good afternoon, Hard Copy. How are you?
Yes, Steve. Good afternoon, and you, Mr. Bain. In some instance, I agree with Mr. Bain, and in some instance, I don't agree. Because here's the reason why I say that. The premier of Turks and Caicos is much older than Mr. Davis, but he's doing the same innovative ideas that Lincoln is talking about. Here's the reason why. I went to their office here in the financial center, and I spoke with the young lady at the office, and I said, during COVID, how did you guys handle the matter? She said, every Turks Islander was given $1,500 a month on COVID, and as COVID subsided, they were basically given $500. She said, what did you guys get in the Bahamas? I said, nothing but a bag of chips. He said, you know there was a sovereign wealth fund? He said, yes. I said, you have an NHI? She said, yes. I said, well,
theirs work better than ours. Go ahead.
She reorganized. And she said, here's the thing. She said, no offense, but our premier chartered accountant. And I started thinking, I said, you know what? I remember an article I read that Loftus Roken was saying why they created NIB. And he said, one of the things that they were told about NIB, you cannot let money sit. You must make sound investments to grow.
And that's what Lincoln Bean is talking about right now.
I'm laughing because I'm saying, here it is. Loftus said this about like 20 years ago. Lincoln is saying it now. And it brought the kids to mind to tell me that, listen, the problem ain't the age, you know. The problem is when you have people who don't understand business, sitting in the chair of governance, that's what destroys the Bahamas. When you have a guy who will never run a candy store or sell a bag of peanuts on the side of the road, all he knows the only way to make money is to tax. I heard Lincoln was talking about the investments. He mentioned Norway. You realize, Steve, that Equinor, which has the oil refinery down in Freeport, their shares are in on the Norwegian stock market, the New York Stock Exchange. Their shares are going at $26 and 81 cents, say $27. How is it that a company comes into your country, buys an oil refinery, which is stationed in your country, that now globally taking the same oil and refining the same oil in your country, and is selling it abroad on the international market, and their government basically owns 67%, so you can call it the majority shareholder, making money off of a system that you have in place that your government, our government, right under their nose, they're trying to say, you know what, why don't we take this over or invest into this way? We can have somebody where we don't have to basically keep looking to somebody with a bag in our hand and begging. It all calls for innovative thinkers.
Very true.
The parliament has too many people in it who've never run a business. So you will always get the same result. It ain't an age thing. It is a mindset. So
I hear what you're saying, my brother. I hear you loud and clear. And you see, the thing is now that we are beginning to get these people now. We talked about them earlier in the program today, Tyrone Thurston. You talk about Blackmore, you talk about Richard Trippy Cartwright, all these people. You know, you've got people like Lincoln Bain, Salathiel Thompson, you've got people like who understand the markets and all that kind of stuff too, like Professor Bernard Storr, Bernard the Young. These are people who understand what's going on, and these are mixed people. Some are older, some are younger. But the point is, you need a settler.
It's the mindset. Let me help him with something. He talks about Washington Mizik, who is actually 74 years old. Yes, I agree. He is 74 years old, but he is not the one who set that standard. The standard was set by Michael Mizik, who was in his 40s when he really established a lot of this stuff, and actually in his 30s. And he changed the whole mindset that Turks and Caicos Islanders should get their crown land. They should benefit from this country, and that's what he did. Now, he made some personal mistakes later, so I'm not talking about that. But in terms of the governance and turning stuff over to the people, he changed the mindset. And so after him, anyone who came after him had to continue with that trend. So it didn't come from the 74-year-old who was there now, who's actually his brother. All right? Right. It didn't come from him. It came from that younger person who said this is the tone that should be set. And this is happening right now all over the world. In Estonia, in El Salvador, younger people are taking over and taking their countries to the next level. If we want to let these elderly gentlemen, Michael Todd, Brave Davis, continue with the whole trend of just the oligarchs invest, the foreigners invest, and we just be poor and be taxed to death, we are going to crumble as a nation.
Well, the thing I'm saying is this. I'm not too comparing with it, but he has been Mike's advisor for a long time.
Yes, he has.
They're both of my family, so I can tell you that's why I'm speaking of that.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is this. shall need people who are going to sit in our parliament, who knows the Constitution.
Absolutely.
We bringing something to the table.
The good part is we're going to have a new constitution. That's the benefit of the Bahamian people. This one is outdated. And you are correct. I love your mindset. Thank you. Yes, that is correct.
I've got to run to other calls. I'm losing time. Thank you for your call, though. Boy, I'm telling you, it's a serious thing.
So a call is on there.
Oh, we got another caller. Okay. Let me just. Yes. Good afternoon, caller. How are you? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
I hear a lot of Bahamians on the talk shows and in the news and under the Daily Tree saying, if we can think like this, why can't our leaders think like this?
Mm-hmm.
That is so true.
So they know exactly what they doing and who they doing.
You always maintain that, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and who they ain't what doing that for. You know, I hear Mr. Bean saying the old, it's an old way of thinking. I will add to that, Mr. Bean. It's not really the old way of thinking, you know. It's the old way of continued teaching. That's what I want to say.
Thank you for your call. I did speak with the fellow who did speak with the guy today with the dog situation in that hospital area, and I've got some good news about it. We're going to share it with the folks next week, Monday, suppose, on the show. But let's look at this whole thing. Round this whole thing off. You're getting ready for a convention now. You want to impress these people that you've got what it takes, and you're serious about this whole thing. You got these people who you want to bring around you, and also make sure that you're on the same page, because you need the oneness.
Mm-hmm.
We need the oneness to happen in this country for the people of the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people here who are on the program, not that they are CDR or COI or FNM or PLP. The point is they have a oneness in their mindset. Their thinking is bringing the Bahamas to the real threshold of where we're supposed to be at this particular time. Some others are not ready for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You are obviously ready for that kind of stuff.
Yes.
That's a good thing. Now, let's look at how we're going to bridge this gap, make this thing happen, and influence the people to make sure that you all are going to be the ones who are going to set the tone to bring about this new mindset in the Bahamas. You've got a convention coming up.
Our convention is coming up on April 13th. We're excited. We are going to vote for the leadership of this organization. It's going to be the official launch of this organization. This organization is young. A lot of people don't realize that. But we are officially launching on April 13th. We're going to vote for our leaders, deputy, chairman, all of the positions. And then we are going to launch and get ready for elections. We are going to put together a team and an army that is ready.
Mm-hmm.
Later, we're going to announce our candidates, etc., etc. We've already been vetting some of our candidates. We have candidates that we've sent out into the field to see how they work, etc., etc. But we've already vetted some candidates, and we are looking. If you want to be a candidate, and if you're a new Bahamian, then you can come and join us. You can come and be a part of what we are doing. We call on all third parties to come together. It's time. This is the time. The time is now. There is no future after this next election. After this, there is no future after this next election. That was half of the statement. If we let the PLP or FNM win this election, the FNM will continue to let us be flooded by these foreign invaders. Pintard was an acolyte of Fred Smith. He worked along with Fred Smith and what they were doing. All right? I'm not mincing words with that. So you know it's going to happen. This administration is continuing to sell out our passports, etc., like candy. And so we have to stand together as Bahamians.
And citizenship too.
Let everyone else vote for whoever they want to vote for. If you are a true patriotic Bahamian, stand with us as we defend this nation. People are saying, let's fill the square. No, let's fill the polling booths. Let's get ready. They're going to call election by next. Okay?
You really believe that?
I believe they're going to call. based on Braves' age and what's going on in this country, they're going to call the election next year. Let's get ready and organize to take this country. Join our organization. Be a part of what we are doing. Go on our website, become a member. Come to our headquarters, sign up, become a member. If you want to be a candidate, let's join together. Call me. Go on our website and apply to be a candidate if you want to. Or just call me and let's have a conversation. I've been having conversations with many of these names that you're calling. Okay, and there's some people who believe that, no, I just have to wait until close to the election because the government will victimize me. Yeah. I don't have time for fear. I've been victimized. I'm being victimized every single day that we speak. This is not an easy battle, but this is the battle for the strong. I can't go to a bank and get a mortgage. They got their people on the boards. I can't get certain government contracts. How am I going to get that? All right, there's a lot of things that I can't do. There's a lot of things that they will fight me down on, but I prefer to put country over self. Self-preservation is what destroys a nation, because they look at the fact that you don't want to lose your mortgage, you don't want to lose your job. So I'm calling on those who are ready to make this sacrifice for our country. This is the last election that we will be the majority. Open your eyes. This is the last election. You're going to be the majority. Open your eyes. Our children are leaving this country in droves. And so come to our convention. We even got a raffle going on. You can buy the tickets ahead of time. You go online and buy the tickets right now, the raffle tickets, or come to our headquarters, or by at the convention. We'll be giving out a car. All right, that car I think is worth over $40,000. So to pay $10 for a ticket, I think that's worth it. All right, we went all out with that. You're gonna see that we are coming for the big game. We coming like one family, coming for Saxon and Valley. We tired of the two of them back and forth over and over. We coming for them. All right, and so we are ready, and we're calling on Bahamians to join us. Be hired to our convention, April 13th at 6 p.m. in the evening. It's gonna get started.
Where's it gonna be?
It's going to be at the Marriott Courtyard on West Bay Street.
Okay. All right. That's right down. Right down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the final call for the day. Listen, caller, I'm listening to you. How you doing? What's happening?
Good afternoon, Steve.
Yes, sir.
My boy Lincoln dead.
Good afternoon.
Steve, can I always say to talk about Large Monroe, which is one of the hard cases. Large Monroe forget a few years that if the people go back to PNP, all the effort and the power is making back in Egypt. And that is exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Be careful. We're going to get the time so true. This is the last hope for the Bahamian people. If they will wake up, because Lincoln is the leader of a man, like Lincoln may make now stand up for this country. If the Bahamian people will wake up, the more they reject Lincoln, the more they suffer in this country. They can beat us to bomb right now. And they got my vote. 24/7. I wish you luck, so the keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call.
But the luck isn't needed for me. I could be all right. I'm not hurting. I'm doing good. The luck is for our country and for our people. This is my fight. The country is falling apart. Steve, the Ministry of Labor, they had this whole thing where they were celebrating how they had this new unit. Remember, they was talking about this new unit that they formed? I got to say this because, see, they keep flamming us and flim-flamming, and we don't understand that that's all they're doing. All right? They formed this new ministry, this new department. It was called the Notice of Vacancy Enforcement Policy Unit, which means that if a company has a vacancy, has to go to the Ministry of Labor before they hire a foreigner. They have to investigate to see if any Bahamians want that job. That was a flam. They had one lady working.
That never worked?
They had one lady working behind a cubicle at Carmichael. And you know, they wouldn't even send most of the stuff to her. So if one of these big boys want a foreigner, they wouldn't even send it to her. They would literally just
copy them.
Yeah. They would literally just push that through. And it's almost like there's a scandal where you're buying these labor certificates to be able to get whatever. And guess what? After all that celebration, you know what they did last year? After they've already gone in the meeting and announced it and say, hey, look at what we're doing. You know what they did? They sent her home.
She's home now.
She home now.
Like a 2 of her.
As we speak. Home.
My Lord.
There is no unit. The unit was never formed. The woman is sitting and her colleagues, and this isn't from her. Her colleagues say her name is Brightly Miller. She's sitting down at home doing nothing and getting paid because they want to shut down this because they want to bring all these foreigners into work, and they don't really want, they want to make you think we did a unit in order to make sure only Bahamians get these jobs.
Checks and balances kind of.
And then they form it after they did the big PR thing. Mm-hmm. Then they send the woman home to you, just sit home until we call you back. All right, this the country we're living in.
They're not serious.
And there's more. I got to come back and show you more. But I can talk more about this on my live on Sunday at 5 p.m. Lands and survey, all this Crown land stuff. Lands and survey, they have no leadership. They have no director. There's no leader there. They got rid of all the leadership at Lands and Survey. If you go to Lands and Survey in the morning, there are people sitting under the tree, the staff sitting under the tree. By 11 o'clock, they're gone.
You serious?
I am serious as a heart attack. And I don't blame them. And they've done this so that there's no leadership there. They can come in and do whatever they want. And they're giving away our land like crazy, taking it. Robbing us, blind. They are dismantling everything that will have any kind of accountability so that they can rape and rob this nation. This is the worst.
So we don't know the kind of mess we are really in.
Yes. This is happening right now. The civil servants know because they're working, but everyone is afraid to say anything. They don't want to lose their little job. They need their mortgage to get paid. They need, the child might be in college. They can't say nothing. So they got to call in secret.
Your job has got to be insurmountable. Your job is a big job.
And so I got to take the blows because it's the politicians who are going to come after me. So I got to stand in the front line and speak and be the voice of these Bahamian people so that the other Bahamians will know that this is not just happening in your ministry. This is happening everywhere. Immigration is worse now than when Keith Bell was there.
Really?
Worse. This country is falling apart, Steve. And we're calling on Bahamians to unite. To unite as Bahamians, not for party, for your country. It tears me apart every time I hear a young person telling their mother or father, I ain't coming back. What's to come back to? Or a parent have to tell their child, the brains in this country is leaving. And we are being replaced every day. That's why the man from NIB, Mr. Moxie, said the workforce is 160,000. Because everyone didn't forget, we was up to 227,000. What's happening? What happened to every year, 6,000 students graduate? So where are them? How come we didn't go from 220,000 up to 300,000?
More.
Yeah. Why is it going down? Because they're replacing us with the others. You go in Bahama, they got a bunch of big strapped-in men look like soldiers walking around at Bahama cleaning, etc. It's like they brought them in and then they got to find work for them while they're here. Something is brewing, Steve. Go look at Bahama and look at the men working, cleaning up the yard. Bunch of fellas look like a bunch of soldiers. All of them are Haitians. When you go to Super Value again, listen. You will not hear English.
Sobering thoughts. 10 minutes past 7 o'clock. Depressing. But
I
always knew.
Fight. I have the courage, I have the will to fight to my last breath. Not they gotta kill me to let this country go. This sweet nation of ours is going to the dogs. Look at Harbor Island. Looks like a ghetto now. Sweet Harbor Island. Look at Eleuthera. It's like a ghetto now. Look at all of our islands. I've been walking around in Pinewood Gardens and Poland Division number 11. That's the side that's closer to the Nassau Village, on the outskirts. Apartments full of immigrants, Haitians. I'm walking around smelling garlic. I hearing other music. Knock on the door, they don't even want to answer. You come to the door. Oh, I can't vote. Not yet, but I can vote soon. They're telling you that. They're in the apartments. They're taking
What are
over.
we doing?
They're everywhere.
What are we
doing? Abandoned houses.
Dan, what are we doing?
We are organizing ourselves to stand up and fight. Bahamians, come forward. Come out of the shadows. Stop being afraid. Your children are in jeopardy. Listen to me, or y'all are going to play this soundbite 10 years from now and say we should have listened to Lincoln. Like how you're playing the soundbite of Loftus Roker and saying we should have listened to Loftus Roker. Come from the shadows and stand with me. We have to organize, not to go in the streets and beg them to do right, because they will flam you like how they've always been doing. Do a PR stunt or make it look like they're breaking down houses when they're not breaking down any houses or a real significant amount. And then they're going to fool you. We need to take this country back from these people because only the foreigners are benefiting. I went and stood with a family the other day where crooked police officers came to enforce an order for a different building because a white foreigner was trying to steal the building of a Bahamian family. Don't have no papers, so he brought papers for a totally different building. Every police who look at it say, oh, they see in this building. Police call the headquarters say, still do it. This is the country we living in. Assistant Commissioner of Police, Thompson. Know it's the wrong building. Can see it's the wrong building. And say, lock up anybody. Why you think that is? If you can't trust the police force, who can you trust? This is why our country is going to the dogs. The senior ranks of the police force cannot be trusted by the people. We need change in the country. We have to take our country back. They bringing these big strapped men in this country. Why are they doing that? The gang's already here. I went to the coal mine recently, Saints Way. That's still there.
You said the gangs are still here. You're talking about the gangs out of Haiti.
The gangs out of Haiti, they are already here. The Haitians took me and the eyewitness those and showed us where the gangs live in. The gangsters are billing. The gangsters, because their money, see, they used to get their money from the oligarchs. The oligarchs used to give them the money to go and control the street, and then the oligarchs will send their politician that they want to win, because wherever the gang told you had to vote out, the gang tell you to vote. All right? And that's how the oligarchs control them. But now the gangs got that drug money through the Bahamas. Colombia, Haiti, Bahamas, America. And so that's how the oligarchs can't control them no more. They want the oligarchs gone now. So they're biting the oligarchs back. And they want their country back. They don't want no politician who's an oligarch puppet. And so they now are empowered. The Bahamas has contributed, because of our contribution to drugs and allowing these people to come in and use our places as a shipment, we've contributed to what's going on in Haiti because we've empowered those gangsters. We need change.
It is mind-boggling. We need all the people to pray for this country. My Lord. What Lincoln being has said here today is enough to just, I don't know. People, 15 past the hour, 7 o'clock, I'm telling you, you've got to find a way to get this thing fixed. Hurry. The country needs you. The country needs your children. We're going to be wiped out if we don't watch it. We already see what's happening on the ground as far as the Haitian nationals are concerned. We then hear the gangs are here. We told you that a couple of weeks ago now. And boy, it doesn't look too good. But we must not be afraid. We have to stand and correct these matters, and we've got to go to these fellows who are supposedly running the country. In fact, if I were to tell you right today, you might as well forget about them and just leave that alone and just leave them out and do the new thing what you have to do. Because that's what it seems like to me. If we don't do what we have to do, then we are all in trouble for the end of times. No question about it. The place is just that rotten right now.
And keep Charlotte Green in your prayers, our chairman, who is under attack by Sheen Gibson, all people. Sheen Gibson, we coming after you with everything in us. Don't miss, Don't miss. You can shoot at us, but don't miss. Because we coming for you. Because you have benefited from scoundrelism in this country. Based on the failures of governments that you've been a part of. Failure of NIB. You was there. So, shoot, but don't miss. That's all I can say to you. Because it's time to open up the floodgates and remind people of who these people are, who benefit and rape and rob this country. Rape and rob this country. Now they can have the heart because someone say something with them. They're acting like little girls. Oh, he's talking about me. He's picking on me. She's picking on me. Shane, man up, Shane Gibson. I wake up every day with people making up a new lie about me, a new story about me. Every day. Ingram talking about Pinland. He said the chief is a thief. Remember that? Pinland didn't sue him. Pinland didn't say lock him up. They're trying to silence us when we're getting too close to truth. You're all in the silencer. If you coming for Charlotte, you're coming for all Bahamians. You just got another $2.5 billion from our treasury after you won by technicality. Sheen, I didn't know you was this petty. We're not standing down. These are the people who give our country away. We're taking this back.
That's our show for the day. 18 past the hour of 7 o'clock. It's been a depressing day for the most part because, we're looking for a bright spot. Something good is happening, but we get that same old story again. Nothing good is actually happening. Not based upon what Lee Convene has told us today. I haven't heard anybody call the challenge and say, you ain't talking the truth. But anyway, it is what it is at this particular time, but the people are going to make it better. I assure you. The people of the Bahamas who are now smarter, wiser, they're ready for this whole thing to happen. I can feel it because I hear the things all the time. They're talking to me. I'm hearing them. That's why I tell you we have to put these things together and put these people. We need one people, a group of people who are going to be thinking with one mindset to totally fix this country. That's what we need. We can do it. That's our show for today. I'm going to end the show right here, and I'll just tell you who the many sponsors are on the show today so we can end the show and go home. If I can pull it up. Okay. Our show today has been sponsored by Advantage Insurance and Brokers, Sandy's Cafe, Executive Printers, Da Vinci Printing, GAW on Abundant Life Road, The Perfume Bar, Cool Tech on Tonique Williams Darling Highway, Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarket, Rocky Farms Nursery, Degrees Lane, McKinney Media Group, Gibbs Lane and Fort Charlotte, Geneva Brass Seafood, Eden Street and Chippingham, Ron's Electric Motors, on Foot and Ankle on Blake Road and Rosetta Street, Super Wash with places to go every time you want to go somewhere. Good. Go to Super Wash. Back in Steve on Soldier Road, Central Super Center on East Street North, and Bahamas Liquidators over there on Mackie Street. As I said, it's been not a sweet day today because the news has just been depressing. However, we want you to have yourself a fantastic weekend. Nonetheless, pray to God, pray for everybody who we are praying for, and all the Christian people in this country, all you mothers, all you people who are praying on your knees before the eyes of the Lord all the time. This country needs urgent prayer. Pray for everyone, please. And we thank you very much for listening to the show today. That is our show. Lincoln Bean, I thank you very much. And we wish you all the best.